How often do we financially compare ourselves to the person that is next to us? Friends and family talk about the cars that they drive, the school their kids go to, or maybe even how many Beanie Babies that they still have in their collection. Regardless, it is our human nature to always want to compare ourselves to those that are around us. Today, I want to give you the actual data, updated to 2025, of numbers of how you compare to your peers in net worth. Oh, and by the way, at the end of the video, I'll talk about where you should be in net worth by your age, so stick around. Let's look at the data. Before I go into the numbers, I want to clarify what is net worth and how you would calculate it. Your net worth is the total of everything that you own minus everything that you owe. So if I own a house that's worth $500,000 and I owe $300,000, my net worth is $500 minus $300, so $200,000. Oftentimes people start out with negative net worth because they graduate from college with student debt, and so their liabilities are actually more than their assets. Over time, if someone manages their finances well, that should be corrected. The net worth number, in my opinion, is one of the personal finance metrics that is worth tracking. It clearly shows how your actions have impacted your personal finances. As a rule, I track my own net worth on a spreadsheet on December 31st of every year. That way, I have a benchmark to see how my good actions or my bad actions have impacted my financial net worth year after year. If you're doing a good job saving, this is a great way to show yourself the progress. If you're not saving enough, then you'll see a stagnant or even declining net worth. First up, we have our 20-year-olds. This is the group of people who likely haven't had much time to grow their assets, and their incomes are just beginning to rise. The median income for someone that is in their 20s is $54,930, and the median net worth is $19,964, which, in my opinion, is actually pretty good. I'm happy to see the median as a positive net worth for people in their 20s. Student loans, the need for cars in America, and oftentimes the pressure to fit in can cause someone in their 20s to be more focused on debt than asset accumulation. Now, let's look at 30-year-olds. The data tells us that this is typically when someone gets married, as well as when someone buys their first home. The average age of a first-time home buyer in 2024 was 38 years old. That varies drastically by location because I was just in New York and it would be very difficult in your 20s to buy a house there. But where I live in Arkansas, a lot of individuals have the opportunity to buy houses in their 20s. This is also a time where hopefully debts are dropping off and retirement contributions might, just might, be rising. If managed well, the 30-year-old decade sets the floor for the remainder of someone's financial future. The median income for someone that is in their 30s is $85,780, and the median net worth is $34,055. This one surprised me because I really hoped it would be much higher than the 20-year-old decade. But maybe, just maybe, the 40-year-olds are doing better. However, typically in your 40s and 50s, those are your most expensive years of living. Children are reaching teenage years, and if they're boys, your grocery bill becomes a second mortgage. If you decide you'd like to help get them a car, or maybe even pay for some of their school, those are major financial commitments. Thankfully, this is also typically some of the highest earning years for individuals. The median income for someone in their 40s is $101,300, which is the first time we have crossed into the 6-digit threshold. As income rises, I would always hope that someone would increase their investment contributions or even their debt reduction. And that may be the case, but it doesn't look likely because the median net worth is $56,534. Remember, I'm going to provide recommendations on where your net worth should be at each age in just a little bit. And a little hint, $54,000 at age 40 is likely not enough. Now let's talk about the 50-year-old decade. This is the time where in someone's life where many times their income is peaked and kids may be leaving the house. They're looking at retiring as a feasible option at some time in the next 20 years. Oftentimes, this is where someone will increase their savings heavily to provide a chance for them to retire. So let's look at the numbers. Median income for someone in their 50s is right at $110,000, and median net worth is $69,690. I don't know about you, but I can't retire on that. And most likely, other people can't. So if those numbers are an indication of the median, I would argue that my listeners would want to be much higher than the median. Fidelity has a recommendation which I would argue could be a pretty good baseline, but there are plenty of opinions around how much someone should have saved up by retirement. They recommend 1 times your income in retirement savings by the end of your 30-year-old decade. For 40-year-olds, they recommend having 3 times your income. And for 50-year-olds, they recommend 6 times your income. For someone looking to retire in their 60s, they recommend around 8 times someone's income. I think those numbers by Fidelity are a pretty good starting point, but there can be a lot of complexity as to how much you personally need to have saved for your retirement. If you're curious about how much you should be contributing to your retirement accounts, I have a video linked here.